Nearly as far as De Jong. Berghuis, and a deflection there. It's going to go spinning behind for the Dutch corner.
And just a better looking threat from the Dutch, and it started with De Jong picking up the ball up in midfield and just accelerating the tempo. That's what you're lacking a little bit from this Netherlands side, is just going up tempo against Senegal when they are in a more advanced position.
Memphis Depay is about to come on. That is a remarkable story. Scored 42 international goals, joint second on the all-time list for the Netherlands, together with Klaas-Jan Huntelaar. Now, he's been discussed inside the box here. Let's have a look. What's the answer? Diallo, by the look of things. Now, a slight pause. Just ascertain. He's going to be able to carry on.
Oh, knee to knee there with Dumfries. Oof.
He's on his feet. Seems to be raring to go again, but Memphis Depay, next stoppage and play, will be coming on for the Netherlands. See if he can make the difference. He's capable of being the difference maker. Here comes the corner. And Mendy to fist it away. And now it will be substitution time. This was Mendy in command of the situation. There's going to be a change for Senegal as well at this juncture. And it's interesting, Ismail Jakobs, a young player who grew up in Germany, he's going to make his first World Cup appearance. We'll get to that in a second, but first the change, and it's no great shock to see Janssen go off in order that this man, Memphis Depay, can come on.
We haven't seen him since September in club and country. Last time out, he pulled his hamstring or tweaked it for the Dutch side, and we talk about Memphis Depay's ability to score, but he also is incredibly important in the way that he can highlight the others around him. Really good link-up play usually with Steven Bergwijn. And they're going to hope to have some of that creativity as they look to get the 3 points.
To complete the story on Jakobs, it didn't look as though he was going to be able to take part because of a registration snafu. Previously with Germany, as I mentioned, grew up in Germany, grew up actually in the Köln area, used to be on the books of FC Köln. Great club on the banks of the Rhine. And that has apparently been resolved. Diallo has gone off after that injury. Jakobs is very much a forward-going, forward-thinking left back.
Absolutely. Enjoy watching him, no doubt. But we've seen both fullbacks go forward for Senegal. Perhaps a little more quality in the final third, Jakobs than Diallo.
Here's Bergwijn. Depay already waiting inside the box. He's been injured for a while now with Barcelona. Of course, is no longer first choice at Barcelona. Got that dream move at the beginning of last season after Lionel Messi had left the club. Was injured for a fair chunk of that campaign too, so the cards really haven't fallen in favour of Memphis Depay since the move to Catalonia. De Jong, one of his Barcelona teammates. Now they have to pay attention at the back. The Netherlands. Diatta.
And again, Diatta's just playing that outlet and able to just spring forward the attack for Senegal, get them in a more advanced position, and look to try to open up Netherlands in these wide channels.
Getting on the ball just then, Jakobs. Sabali with the pass. It was a bit too hot for Diatta to handle. Well, remember, it's 4 matches a day beginning tomorrow, kicking off with Argentina against Saudi Arabia, followed by Denmark, Tunisia, Mexico, Poland, France, Australia. Take your pick or watch them all. Coverage starting at 4 AM Eastern, 1 AM Pacific on FS1 and Fox.
Yeah, what do you mean take your pick? Absolutely watch them all. Who needs work and school?
Family life. Yeah.
No, that is family life all together.
Yep. Well, I know what it's like in the Wagner household.
Trust me, you have no idea.
Over there by Koulibaly, it was Ake who got his head to it, and now Frankie de Jong showed too much of it to Nampalys Mendy. That was a fine piece of play from him in midfield. Diatta is trying to disguise it almost, and the low shot by Dia, and he forces Noppert into urgent action, making sure he was concentrating to the maximum.
Oh, just such a good unexpected turn. Here's the turnover. Frankie de Jong picked his pocket, and now there's a lot of space. You can gain that green. Good run behind the back shoulder of Ake, but Van Dijk does well. You think to just cut off any angle that Boulaye Dia has on frame, but just a quick release, test that near post.
So the corner here to be taken by Crépin Diatta. No scoring between Senegal and the Netherlands. Is that situation going to change? Diatta receiving it from Sabali. Wasn't the best of passes. Hanging ball. Didn't look as though that had stayed in play. And the goal kick it'll be. So 20 minutes now into the second half, and there's the clear evidence of the ball being beyond the byline alley.
Yeah, we didn't need goal line technology for that one.
No. I could afford to trust these new contact lenses. There is Frankie de Jong. There's going to be another substitution coming up shortly for Senegal, but on with the game, and it's Daley Blind, and he had plenty of space. He carved out that pocket of space. Gakpo with the header on, and it falls for Dumfries. And what's the referee going to do? He's going to give the decision the way of Senegal. Free kick.
But already some intervention you're seeing from Memphis Depay. He drops in a lower position. That's the link-up play that gets Netherlands in behind. And then you see the strong challenge from Dumfries. Referee calls it a foul. Miscue, really, by Ismail Jakobs. It looks like, but the ref gets it right. Just a little nod on the backside. But a better-looking spell from the Netherlands. And early on, whether Depay is dropping lower just to link up play, or him and Bergwijn spreading out those center backs, it's creating some channels in the interior instead of in the half space for Cody Gakpo just to find and thread through. Something to keep an eye on as we progress.
And Bamba Dieng is going to be the player coming on for Senegal. Next opportunity. Could it be we're watching the best two sides in this group? Ecuador might make an argument about it based on their win over Qatar. Time will tell. So Ecuador play the Netherlands in the next set of matches. Senegal against Qatar. And Mendy watches all the way as that trickles through. Blank score sheet midway through the second half. And the change here, and yeah, we suspected that it would be Boulaye Dia, one striker going off in order that another one can come on. Seconds after this from Dia.
That's his last intervention, it looks like. Really strong test on Noppert. Again, just an unpredicted quick swivel over the hips to try to just test that near post. And it wasn't his night in the end.
So the Marseille striker will come on in his place. Bamba Dieng has been out of favour at the club. Looked as though he was going to join Nice in France, but failed a medical. Important member of his squad. They are a little bit thin in terms of quality in the centre-forward position. That's the general feeling amongst those who follow Senegal on a regular basis. It's Kouyaté who's down here. And there's going to be a little break in the action, Ali.
Yeah, I didn't see exactly what happened to Kouyaté. Ball's in the air. Frankie de Jong doesn't have eyes on the ball, and instead he's got eyes on Kouyaté.
Well, that gives us a chance to take stock of what we've been seeing. Any discernible change to the pattern in this half?
when you look at what Senegal's been able to threaten with, it's been limited. I think in the first half they were more dangerous, saw more of the ball, and they look more threatening in transition. I think Netherlands have been able to control this game more so, this half, excuse me, more so in possession, and that's what you typically would have thought coming into this match initially. But I do think both sides look like they possibly can gift a goal to the other through just careless play out of the bag.
Well, the stretcher is being brought on. That's what happened to Kouyaté. Yep.
You take that one.
Yep. Sometimes pictures tell 1,000 words. Flat on his back, Cheikhou Kouyaté. Chance for some of the other Senegalese players
And back
to enjoy
to
a bit of liquid refreshment.
But back to your point, if this game ends 0-0 and you go to that second and third game to see who advances, the reality is, you know, Mendes of Ecuador, Caicedo of Ecuador, both on yellow cards. I mean, the likelihood of one of them picking up a second yellow is very high, in which case they'd sit out that third game, and that could benefit this Senegal team if, in fact, results stay toe for toe as we go through this group stage.
Looks as though it's the end of the line for Kouyaté. They do have a substitute ready in Pape Gueye, another Marseille player, left-footed. Used to be on the books of Watford, but actually didn't make a single appearance. And Hertfordshire left immediately. There they are, the Senegalese fans. A lot to be encouraged about when you think about the context of this group and how it all might stack up, but that's a sad sight, isn't it, Kouyaté?
No clue how this ends for Kouyaté, except that, as you said, his day is done today, and the reality is, as a player, this is what you dream of. And we've seen a couple players go off injured in the opening match. It just becomes an emotional experience when, I mean, you would never wish upon your worst enemy.
That little moment there tells you a lot about teamwork, doesn't it? Many a player would be concentrating on himself, but Pape Gueye immediately wanted to have a word with Cheikhou Kouyaté, make sure he's okay. Offer some words of encouragement. He's about to come on for Senegal. So a lengthy stoppage there. We're inside the final 20 minutes. It's been tight, it has been tactical, there have been chances in the match.
And you think more have to be coming for Netherlands with Depay on.
So Dumfries, there's Bergwijn, Dumfries cutting in. Down he goes, but he's going to carry on. See if they can stretch the Netherlands here. Ismaïla Sarr, he's been quiet in the second half. And intelligent ball, there's Idrissa Gueye, and Nopper put to work once more for the Netherlands. Well, the offside flag has gone up. Well, that was an opportunity.
It certainly was, and a really good strike here by going to Gueye. You see three players just converging on him, and it's a quick release. The ball sits up nicely for him, and it just goes through traffic. Nopper sees it late, more than likely, but good reaction save. And the big man comes up with the goods.
Substitution now. We already have had one with Pape Gueye having come on. Nicolas Jackson is on too for Senegal. Here's Matthijs de Ligt. There's 5 substitutions allowed nowadays. Okay, so nobody in particular. It does change the dynamic of a game having 5 substitutions. Some will say not necessarily for the better.
Yeah, it breaks up the rhythm, absolutely. But I think with the congestion of fixtures that you have nowadays, I do appreciate that you can have more rotation in squads.
Diatta, the other player to have gone off, in his case not because of any injury that had occurred. The Netherlands earlier bringing on Memphis Depay, and there he is. Ball moving towards him, but didn't make the leap on that occasion. Sabali just dragged it too far forward for his own good. And Frankie de Jong dropping all the way back as the covering player. Well, this was the worry amongst some of my Dutch journalist friends. They did feel that there was a lack of a cutting edge. The defence would be solid for the Netherlands, this back three. But again, where are the goals coming from in this competition? Still plenty of time, still early days, but they have some defending to do here. De Ligt and company. Ismail Assar, and the shot does come in here. Well, it was there for Dieng.
And again, just coming down that left-hand side with Ismail Assar. That one just a bit too far behind Dieng Bamba. Makes it difficult to get around it and keep it down.
That was a bit careless by Koulibaly and Bergwijn. And desperate defending, but very good defending. Yeah. You've got to say, when all was said and done by Jacobs.
And I would argue that this Netherlands side has plenty of ways to find the back of the net. And we've seen when they've been free-flowing and there has been that counter movement out of midfield, they've looked incredibly dangerous. They've also looked dangerous in situations like that, where they're on the break, where they're attacking and they're being incisive vertically quickly. You could argue they just haven't had that finishing touch today.
Just getting a bit of a talking to here. Bergwijn, Gakpo to take the latest corner.
And Ake is going to be the free runner again.
Over it comes from Cody Gakpo. Trying to keep it going. Ake was there, attempting to get his head to the ball. De Ligt by his side. And they slice open this resolute Senegalese defence. Daley Blind, good looking ball towards Dumfries, but he was overzealous. Yeah, felt by Jacobs.
And it looked awkward from Jacobs, just pushed in the back again. Dumfries a few times now, late to the ball, late to the challenge. Here's the previous one from Senegal, the ball back to Gana Gueye, end up being offside, but a really clean strike from him. And that's a good moment for Noppert. Only tested at that near post once, really, and that's a second save for him. He's going to feel good about that. That's going to build his confidence in his international debut on the world stage.
So 0-0 the score. And the Netherlands about to make a couple of personnel changes. Davy Klaassen will be one of the men to come on. Turn Koopmeiners will be the other. Time really is of the essence here. A draw is never the end of the World Cup. For any side, can often be actually beneficial to ease your way into a tournament. Many a coach has spoken about that.
Time and tempo. And you're also buying your team time with Depay recovering and getting more minutes under his belt. But I do think Netherlands can go up tempo and really try to force something, mistakes out of this back line of Senegal and this midfield that has been so resolute and tracking those vertical runs, closing off some of those internal channels.
Off has gone Bergwijn, off has gone Berghuis with Klaassen and Koopmeiners on for the Netherlands.
More creativity a little bit and less loyal players per Van Gaal.
Maybe Klaassen has been struggling a bit for form at Ajax. A vastly experienced central midfield player. Koopmeiners was an effective passer of the ball. Comes off Frankie de Jong. Well, Louis van Gaal did say at the press conference, you and I were there, Ali, that he feels under certain circumstances the Netherlands could win the World Cup. He wasn't making the case for them to be amongst the top 3 or 4 countries here, but he said, I feel that we are in the conversation if the chips fall the right way.
Yeah, he said more talent than the 2014 squad, and this is a group that buys into the principles of play that he wants to see. And that was key to that squad to go get into that 3rd place game. And maybe they're just going to be a slow burn. There's been worse things. Remember France 4 years ago?
Yeah, absolutely. A reminder about the return of World Cup tonight. All the day's highlights, special guests and World Cup fun with Kate Abdo, Mo Edu, and America's World Cup fan Chad Ochocinco, who gets to go to the games, including the USA against Wales, coming up after this to give us the fan experience tonight at midnight on Fox.
I'm still wondering how he got the gig just to get to go to games.
Yeah. Is that the gig you want next time?
No doubt.
I hope you're not sick of your commentary partner already.
That was the sole reason.
10 minutes to go. Senegal and the Netherlands locked together at 0-0. The last 8 World Cup openers, the Netherlands have recorded 6 wins and 2 draws, no defeats. They've won their last 3 at this stage of the competition. Senegal, remember, shocked France right at the outset, 2002. Put one over Poland at the last World Cup. Wasn't enough in the end to get them out of the group. Draw something they might have settled for before a ball was kicked at anger as Idrissa Gueye feeds it out left. They do look for Ismaïla Sarr to turn on the style. Idrissa Gana Gueye. Here's Sabali for Senegal. They've got the resources marshalled here, the Netherlands. Tightly packed penalty area. The substitutes getting on the ball there. Pat Gay. Jacobs with that deep ball in there. And it wasn't a bad idea. They're asking the question. Inside the penalty area. The referee saw no transgression.
It's a good ball into the box. Ake tied to his player. Not a lot in that. That's the right thing to do if you're Ake. Just throw him off. But one thing I noticed, Eric, in that last play when Van Dijk gave the ball away and here comes Senegal in the counterattack, instead of just watching the ball, Van Dijk is running back, recovering, but he's looking behind his shoulder and he's organizing everyone behind him to pick up the runners at the far post. He's getting everyone into position to deal with any ball that might be floated into a dangerous area, and that's one of the things you don't see when you're not here in person. And we heard Van Gaal talk about he's coached incredible leaders.
There's Ake, that quick first-time ball. Saw what they were trying there, asking for a possible free kick, but not given. Down is Abu Cisse.
Back to my point, Van Gaal has coached incredible captains, incredible leaders. But he said Van Dijk is special.
Yeah. Yeah, very special captain. Greatly appreciated by Louis van Gaal. That was Cop Miners who managed to get deep into Senegalese territory. Looked to work it swiftly from the back. Dumfries leading in terms of forced turnovers, one of the statistical categories you'll be hearing about throughout the course of this World Cup. Well, 0-0. If it were to finish 0-0, it wouldn't be a terrible outcome for either side, would it?
No, I don't think so, especially when you consider that both have the ability to go and pick up points in their next 2 matches. We talked about both of these squads being the top 2 teams in the group, even without Mane.
Oh, now they've stepped up here at Senegal. Will there be a price to pay? Gakpo. Just looking over his shoulder. Klaassen had joined Memphis Depay inside the box, and it falls kindly here for Memphis Depay, and we know that he has skill in his repertoire. Well, they got away with that a little bit, Senegal. One of the few times when they have gone for that higher line. Frenkie de Jong, and there is the moment for the Netherlands. Cody Gakpo. The Dutch breakthrough at last in the closing phase of this match. A mixture of joy and relief for the men in orange. Cody Gakpo gets on the end of it. And will that be enough to see the Netherlands through to victory in their first match here at the World Cup?
And it had to be Cody Gakpo coming in. This was the kid that we all knew to keep our eyes on. Incredible season at PSV Eindhoven. And he's had great movement out of midfield. Some surging runs. The timing of his run is incredibly important. There he is. Just glides in front of the last line and then cuts in and darts to get on the end of this one. For De Jong, it looked like the timing might have been off, but he cuts it close enough and arrives just before Mendy, who comes out for that teasing ball. To see that one find its way in the back of the net. What a finish. You talk about getting your body right in air and understanding where that ball has to be redirected, and that is a difficult skill to pull off at full speed.
A goal from the rising star of Dutch football, Cody Gakpo, after Frenkie de Jong had played it in. A delightful ball it was. Just seconds after, and we said it, Senegal as a unit had stepped forward, got themselves into a bit of a pickle. Thought that they maybe succeed in clearing the danger. Now they've got to get themselves onto the front foot. With time a real consideration. Here at Al Tumama, just to the south of the Doha city centre.
And right after, you were talking about how a tie could suit both of these teams, and it wouldn't be the worst thing.
Change of emphasis and thought process, and that wasn't bad at all by Pat Gay. And Noppert, not for the first time, has to make an important stop.
And it's an incredible one, because this is a tall goalkeeper to get down that low, that quick, back against your momentum. You can see he shifts just enough to his right and then has to get to the ground low in that near post. Big save. Action stations here for Senegal. The equation has been altered, and quite profoundly. On Paris Mendy, sending it in. Cisse quickly out to that left-hand side. And it comes off Ake. Will be a corner. Corner to Senegal. And Pat Gay tasked with taking it. A bit of a heartbreaker for Senegal. This one to hold up. A variation on the usual theme. It was hit a bit vigorously, wasn't it? Jacobs had to double D-clutch. And that's going to be Noppert's ball, and he's happy to fall down while grabbing it. Waste a few more seconds. Here's a look at the quick release. And then just the big save from the big man. Arm stretched out, one hand to it, just deflects that wide of the near post. I mean, you tell your players when you see a goalkeeper of that frame and that size, you want to shoot low. Well, he had it covered.
There's Memphis Depay trying to play his way through the Senegalese defence. Bailey Blin pass into the centre for the Oranje. Come away with it once more. Blin. Memphis Depay. To Frenkie de Jong, the architect of the Gakpo goal. They get a little circle. In a stadium that's based on a circular roof pattern. Cisse and Senegal put so much into this game. Managed to keep the Dutch at bay until that goal by Gakpo. And we should remind you, the USA against Wales coming up, opening World Cup match for the US and Wales. We'll see it on Fox, coverage beginning at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Louis van Gaal moving on from the bench. There's Edgar Davids there, one of his assistants. A terrific all-around midfield player he was.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. He used to play for Van Gaal, that great Ajax team of the 1990s initially. Here's Blind. The Dutch trying to see this out now. Senegal will doubtless have their own views on that subject. Spinning off the boot of Pape Gueye, who fired in that ferocious shot earlier, brought the best out of Anthony's Noppert, and I don't think you can really ask too many questions about Noppert and that decision, because he's been superb in goal when called upon.
Spot on. And he hasn't been called upon much as we've talked about the threat of Senegal coming forward in transition, the way that they've been able to construct some things in those wide areas, specifically from Ismail Sarr. Really only a few big saves and Noppert's had to make, but that's the difference. And you were looking up the last time you had a goalie make their debut in the opening game in a World Cup.
Yeah, I seriously questioned whether or not it had happened before, but it did happen with Russia at the last World Cup, but certainly for the Netherlands, new territory. We're going to have a minimum of 8 added minutes.
Feels excessive.
When you think about the stoppage for Kouyaté, think about all the substitutions, think about the goal. I was talking to Mark Clattenburg about that. Yeah. You don't think 8 is justified, no?
No, I don't.
Fair play. But Mark Clattenburg.
But Senegal will be happy.
Yeah, Mark and I were talking about that, just leaving the referee's briefing, and it's something we probably will see a lot of. We were almost forewarned that we're going to see that, especially with VAR interventions. Not that that has been part of the story of this one. Yeah.
That's why you were the A student.
No,
went to the briefing.
Always go to the referee's briefing. It's the one briefing you do want to attend if you can. Always learn something. And Senegal in pursuit of an equaliser. Dieng is away by Dumfries, and that was always rising off the boot of Jacobs.
You know, we said he was a forward-thinking player, and why not have a go? Just slices across that one, gets it wrong.
Well, I know his former teammates at Köln are all behind him. Köln, who actually were in the USA at the weekend, playing Stuttgart in Austin, Texas, in a friendly. I think people who know me know that I do try to make Köln references whenever possible, so there's the obligatory Köln reference. But as I say, they have been in Texas, and fantastic club, FC. Ismail Jacobs used to play for them. Gakpo contributing in more ways than one, Ali.
Spot on. And just his grace and ability to eliminate players, well, lines as well with that. Just glides right by defenders. Because I don't think his line breaks have necessarily been with passes.
We saw those games flash up on our screen seconds ago. Netherlands against Ecuador, Qatar against Senegal. You and I will be commentating on the Netherlands against Ecuador. Have you seen anything now, having watched both sides, anything from Ecuador that should trouble the Dutch?
Absolutely. I mean, they get big shape. They play some of their really dynamic wingers, and Gonzalo Plata. They've got, you know, the double pivots and Mendes and Caicedo that can really control things in the center. And if you give them a sniff, if you're a little bit lazy on the ball, like we've seen out of De Jong a few times, Van Dijk once, they can punish you. Valencia, you saw it. There's a reason he's their leading goal scorer and potent.
Sabali, and useful looking ball, but not the header, not really going to plan. Dieng waiting inside the penalty area for Senegal.
Good shape on that service coming in, and Ifan Bamba Dieng just sitting between two backs, and Dumfries and the other center back. De Ligt, the good space to land that ball in. He just gets the connection wrong.
Martin de Roon is going to be coming on for the Netherlands, defensive midfield player. There's the goal that separates these two. Frenkie de Jong, an exquisite ball, and headed home by Cody Gakpo.
It really is, and you say it takes something special. It takes that creativity. Well, it came from both those players. The recognition that space was on him behind the back line by Gakpo, and then the delivery. Just feathering that one in over the top, teasing the goalkeeper off his line.
He has to pass it now, Gakpo, in order that de Roon can come on. He's not a glamorous sort of player, de Roon. There is a yellow card. Flashed in the direction of Paris Mendy looking a bit quizzical there at the Brazilian referee. Senegal are going to have to go and play Qatar now. They'll fancy their chances, I think, based on what we saw last night. I suppose those who'll say Qatar can't possibly be as bad as they were. That's the challenge from Mendy, why he got booked, Ali.
Again, just high boot, actually, from both of them, and I can see why he had an argument.
Just trying to manage the game here, you sense, don't you, the Netherlands? Already 4 minutes into added time. And if they do win, it's going to go down as a hard-earned, hard-fought victory. Virgil van Dijk from the back with that raking free kick. Koopmeiners. Well, that is the end of that for now, as far as the Netherlands are concerned. They want to get on with it quickly here, Senegal. And even if it does end in defeat, at least they've kept the damage down, because goal difference can be so crucial in